Hey, what's up guys? So we're going to be doing a deck profile here for FAs. I believe this is the very first time I'm doing a deck profile for FAs here. Been playing them ever since they first came out in Code of the Duelist even, but I just haven't put up a deck profile. But with Shining Star that came out in Rising Rampage, I knew I had to actually just develop it to a way where I could actually put it up as a deck profile on this particular channel. So without further ado, let's get started. To begin with monsters, we'll be playing 2 copies of Dark Dragster. Dark Dragster is definitely very amazing as it actually just destroys a bunch of monsters or cards really your opponent controls by reducing its level by 3. So most likely you'll be able to get 3 uses out of this depending on the field spells you actually play in this deck and how you could utilize all of the FA spells and traps. With that being said, its summoning conditions are also very easy. The only reason I'm playing 2 is because you can't have more than 1 copy of this card on the field. As a result, you don't want to see this card too often in the hand. We're playing 3 copies of Hang On Mark, basically a walking Dark Lore, definitely very amazing. If you have this card plus any other field spell, that's basically your opening 2 card combo. Summon this, activate one of your field spells, and from there, that's pretty much it. I mean, is there anything else you really need to say? I mean, if it's level 7 or higher, anything your opponent sends to the graveyard gets banished instead. It's Dark Lore. It's literally just Dark Lore's effect, so really amazing there. I should also mention that all FAs will gain 300 attack as well based on what their levels are, so if you're wondering why they have nothing, then, well, now you know why. With that being said, we're also playing 3 copies of FA Whipcrosser. Whipcrosser is definitely a very good card as well. Does the same thing as Hang On Mark and Dark Dragster in terms of the power boosts and the field spells that you activate. However, in this particular scenario, if it's a level 7, your opponent cannot discard or send cards from their hand to the graveyard to activate an effect. Very good card, preventing your opponent from being able to do anything from their hand. So Whipcrosser, also a very key card, playing 3 copies of them for sure. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. It seems like the neighbors are doing a bit of lawn mowing, so hopefully it's not going to bother you guys too much. But yeah, let's just try to continue and hopefully get this done as soon as possible. We're playing 2 copies of FA Sonic Meister. Sonic Meister is a very niche card. It is not as good as Hang On Mark or Whipcrosser, but it still provides you 2 attacks. Not the most amazing, like I said, but with FAs, most of our combos are really just normal summons. That's all we really do here. And Sonic Meister really acts more so as additional materials for your synchro summons, but at the same time it also just allows you to pretty much draw into more FA cards, because I find that if you don't draw into any of your monsters, you can't do much for the deck. You at least have to draw into 1 monster and you'll be able to do very amazingly here. So overall, 2 copies definitely going to be amazingly well. Of course, we have to play 3 copies of Auto Navigator. Very easy to summon if you combo it well with your different field spells, and with that being said, you can easily go into the main FA synchro monsters in your deck. So very nice. On summon, it also allows you to add your FA field spells from your deck to your hand, accelerating your plays. But overall, it's definitely a really amazing card that can easily be brought out also through, well, firstly, there's the FA trap cards that allow you to bring these out, but at the same time, we're also playing 1-for-1 in this deck, allowing you to make the most out of Auto Navigator. We're playing a interesting tech here. I'm playing Hop Ear Squadrons, basically allowing you to excel synchro during your opponent's main phase as long as this card's in your hand. So let's say you had Hang On Mark on the field, and you had a field spell which increased its level to 7. Then you had a Hop Ear Squadron. You could just special summon this out, target that, and excel synchro into a level 9, pretty much allowing you to go into your FA level 9 monster, which is your motorhome. Definitely quite nice. Just the card I'm taking in for now. If it works well, I'll add in more. We're also playing 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. It's a hand trap that is a bit underestimated in this particular case. However, I am trying it out against the opponent, and so far it's been working well for me. Another advantage is that it's also a wind monster, and reason why I want to play all winds in my deck, except for Dark Dragster, of course, which is a dark, is because we're playing 2 copies here of Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms, and we're also playing 2 copies of Lightning, Dragon Ruler of Drafts. These 2 cards have worked amazing wonders for the deck. I think all wind decks definitely are making a huge comeback, so definitely expect to see a lot of wind attribute decks in this upcoming format, particularly in April when they make the crazy abuse out of it. But that being said, these 2 cards, I just can't express it enough. They are amazing cards, so definitely play these cards in this deck. It works amazingly. Alright, so moving on to spells, we're playing 3 copies of FA City Grand Prix, one of the most key cards of the deck, allowing you to increase your FA monsters' levels by 2 during both the main phase and battle phase. And it also protects your FA monsters from actual card effects, so definitely quite nice. Of course, if it's destroyed, you could also float into, well, not float into, but add more FA field spells from your deck to your hand. So definitely quite an amazing card, does a really good job there. Only playing 2 copies of Off-Road Grand Prix, not as amazing as City Grand Prix because it only increases the levels during the main phase only. However, that being said, if your FA monsters happens to be destroyed by battle, you could also force your opponents to discard 1 card, which is definitely going to suck. And if your opponent, well, if you're playing Whip Crosser combo with this, and they destroy one of your other monsters by battle, then your opponent's card in the hand actually gets banished instead. So it's definitely going to work really well here for for Off-Road Grand Prix. Of course, we're only playing 1 copy of City Grand Prix, not the best because it only increases during the battle only. However, that being said, you could draw a card if your monsters destroys your opponent's monsters by battle. So definitely quite nice there. And again, like I said, all of them, if they're destroyed by a card effect, then you simply just add one of the other to your hand as well, which is why we can get away with playing like 6 copies of the field spells total. Definitely quite nice here. I think the FA field spells are very amazing. They're typically considered the best for any archetype. No other archetype really supports well with their specific spells and traps. Maybe Five Fists, but FAs have really amazing ones as well. FA Test Run, got to play 3 copies, helps you just deal damage to your opponent by getting rid of their cards, and also allowing you to also special summon FA monsters from your graveyard very easily by banishing this card, except for the Toenail Scent there, of course. But 3 copies is definitely a must. Can be used actively from your hand, or you could just set it and use it kind of like a trap. We're also playing 2 copies here of Downforce. This one is to increase the levels, just to catch your opponent off guard. Works really amazingly, and of course you could also banish it in the graveyard to use it again, except the Toenail Scent, of course. Now, I know a lot of people have different opinions about this card, but Pit Stop is definitely a card I want to play more of, and I think 2 is definitely that fine amount. 3 is a bit of an overkill, 1 just doesn't do too much, but playing 2 of these makes quite a bit of an impact. I do like it. A lot of people have mixed feelings about this. A lot of people actually choose to play 1 of these only, expecting it to be really good. I mean, it's not as good as most people might expect it would by reading the card effect. However, putting it to practice with 2 copies of this, it still works quite amazingly, and I definitely can't complain with it. For our field spell support, we are playing a Terraforming and also Set Rotation. Definitely key cards of the deck that does the job here, so you'll definitely need to play these 2 cards for sure. And to end things off with spells, we're playing the 1-for-1 to bring out, obviously, our auto turn. However, moving on to traps, we're playing 1 copy of Dead Heat, actually 2 copies of Dead Heat, and 1 copy of Overheat. I always get these 2 mixed up, but both of these are really amazing. This one particularly allows you to special summon from the hand. Dead Heat allows you to summon from the deck overall, being a far better card because it's also a continuous trap card, so it is a lot more useful throughout the entire game, which definitely makes it really nice here. But that pretty much sums it up for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck, which I'm most excited about. Alright, so onto the extra deck, we gotta play 2 copies of FA Shining Star GT. One of the key cards just requires 2 machine monsters. Definitely nice, allowing you to pretty much negate your opponent's effects. So let's actually read the effect fully to get a full grasp of this. It basically gains 300 attack based on the total levels of FA monsters it actually points to. So if it's pointing to 2 of your level 9 synchro monsters, then you pretty much get a crazy amount. Of course, neither player will take damage from this card, so even if it's at 0, you don't have to worry about damage. However, each time an FA spell trap is activated, you can put 1 athlete counter on this card. When your opponent activates a monster effect, as a quick effect, you can remove one of these counters and negate the activation. If you do, you also destroy their card. The only downside is that this is a hard once per turn, so even if you had 2 of these on the board, you wouldn't be able to activate both of them. You can only activate one of them, which is kind of unfortunate. However, that being said, 2 copies of this definitely is really amazing. For a bit of utility, we're playing Cerberus and Phoenix, allowing you to just deal with your opponent's cards in different manners. And we're also playing the Link Rebo for the auto tune. Sometimes it's a dead card. You want to just bring out something like Link Rebo, which will definitely just help you survive a bit longer. Now, with the remaining cards of our deck, we were playing, obviously, as you can see, we were playing a bunch of synchro monsters like Auto Navigator and Squadron. And these cards allow you to do a lot of crazy combos depending on how you activate the timing of your field spells and everything like so. So in this particular scenario, we're going to be playing 1 copy of Star Eater, a level 11, 1 copy of Leo, a level 10. We're also going to be playing Clearwing. Didn't expect this card to actually be that amazing of a card, but it requires non-tuner wind monsters, and it actually is quite nice. Just an interesting tech I've been trying out, and it's been quite amazing here. Also playing Black Rose Dragon definitely does a very fine job at just clearing the board. So it definitely works quite amazingly there. For level 8, I just had to put in Omega. It's at 1 anyway, but with the Excel Synchro and the Omega, the opponent doesn't see it coming, and you could definitely catch them off guard quite a bit. However, for our FA Synchro monsters, we have to play 2 copies of Motorhome Transport, very amazing card, and we're also playing just 3 copies straight up of Dawn Dragster. Probably the most common one I'll go into is the Motorhome, but I play 3 Dawn Dragster because of how easy it is to actually go into a level 7 straight off the bat when you summon from the graveyard, different things. But that's pretty much it for this deck, so I hope you guys enjoyed this particular one. I won't be doing a combo video because there aren't really combos with this. The main playstyle of this deck is really just to summon out one of the FA monsters and activate your field spells, allowing you to do anything. Every other card acts as more of an additional help line, so it obviously changes the whole dynamic of the deck there. But I might actually be doing a test hand video. We'll have to see. If one comes out, then you guys will obviously see it, but if I don't make one, then don't expect one. The deck doesn't have too many combos unless I draw into the Tempest, which will allow me to extend my plays there. But aside from that, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.